Hello and welcome everybody to something very different. This was my first attempt at actually filming something, and the topic of this one is that I don't like the newer molds for Marines. Now I put three in here. So the one to the very left is the old Death Guard, or not Death Guard, Death Watch Veteran kit. There is a slight substitution of a couple parts in there because I wasn't using them for Death Watch. There is a kit bashed Blood Angel Sergeant, and then there is a generic Sergeant for Mark 6 Corvus armor. Now, the thing I want to say is this, is that having built a number of these guys, what I have to say is I really find the newer kits, even if they look pretty good, to be entirely obnoxious to build. They drive me nuts on a level that I'm just not sure how to express, and it's because they require to be built in very particular ways, and while you can modify after that, they become very burdensome to do so. And I'll say it like this. The Death Watch Veteran, as you can see there, he comes with a two-part torso that you put together, a head, arms, shoulder pads, and legs. Whereas, effectively, the Mark 6 comes in pretty much the same amount. It's just that they go together in very particular ways because the torso is married to the legs. And it can become a really big pain to modify that. The Mark III are probably even worse because at least with the Mark VI, you can hack off the top part. And like I had a broken Blood Angel Sergeant, and I was able to put that on top of it and come out with a pretty decent looking Marine. And I got to thank my cat for helping me with that little experiment. But I don't like the kits because they're so tedious to build, especially when you're making multiple armies. They're just not user friendly. They're very user hostile. And I say that from a very particular thing that I actually really do like the Corvus armor. It's one of my favorites. I've always liked it. I like that they had the little lines on the foot. That's awesome. But they are very obnoxious to modify and to mix with different units. You have to go kind of out of your way and have a little bit more experience. Whereas our Death Watch friend here, I could very easily modify him in a dozen different ways. I could take tactical Marine torsos, put them on them, use tactical Marine arms, shoulders, all of that. Even legs if I wanted. And there offers a lot of modification capabilities, torso twist, and all of that. Also, it's just a lot easier, I find, to build in the older style. Now, honestly, I think that is kind of more of a issue with what I'm going to call CAD design, where they design it in a machine and they don't think so much about the building of the thing as much as, hey, we can do this, so how do we slice it into 20 million parts to get it to do that? If you've built any more of the complicated units where they have gaps that you have to go out of your way to fill and so on. But with the Corvus, for example, they're just tedious after a while. And trying to bring some personality out of them is just a pain in the butt. They don't even have the decency to put a bolt pistol or alternative arms, really, in a lot of cases, for the Sergeant. Really, in much of a way. Like, you could look at the old tactical Sergeant or tactical Marine kit with the Sergeant, and they at least had some options in there that you could fill around with. The problem is that you have to kind of go out of your way to build them in unique ways, and it's kind of a shame because they could really put those old style kits to use with the new technology and make some really interesting units. But I think one of the big problems I have with it is I look at it and go, it is effectively just a nasty way to try to make kit bashing a pain in the butt and to force you to want to buy a new kit instead of trying to mangle something into it because you need so many. Just look at what some of the projects Pete the Wargamer has to go through to get some of his modifications done, and you get what I mean. It's not impossible, but it's a pain, and I do find it quite frustrating in that regard, because they were making, up until at least living memory, fairly easy to build, very easy to modify kits like the Death Watch Veteran. And they've just kind of decided, no, we're not doing that anymore. Nope, we're doing this. As my finger waves in the screen. You're not allowed to have fun. No fun allowed here. Now, that doesn't mean you can't modify them or any of that. It just means that it's a bigger pain in the butt to do it. And I'll show off some of my own modifications. They're kind of slight, just to get around with some of the limitations, especially in the Mark III kit. I'd gotten that as a gift from some of the family, and I was kind of annoyed with the fact that it's really just the Mark VI with an aesthetic change. And that kind of irritated me. It really feels like you're getting gypped in a lot of regards. What? I don't get a bolt pistol and chain sword anymore? There's so many options, and I get so little in the thing. That doesn't mean that they don't look good, or they look good for what you're looking for. It just means that you have all the onus on you to do all of the work to achieve a certain look. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing in a hobby like this. It's just that it makes it all the harder when it makes it more tedious, which I think's the one really big thing in this. And I'll bring over and show off my slight, as I try not to crush the camera, modification of the Mark III Sergeant as I drop it on the floor. Good job, me. The arm, if for the curious, is actually from, I believe, the Chaos Chosen. I'd cut off the spikes. I modified the trim a little bit to look more in line with the unit, and I think it looks quite good. These are going to a different project than a Horse Heresy one, and yes, I'm using a toothpick thing for my my painting handle. But yeah, so I know it's a bit of a petty complaint to have, as the camera is suddenly slightly at an angle. Oh, I'm having so much trouble with this, but it really does bother me that we've reached this point in things where, honestly, if they were just one monopose position at this point, it would at least get rid of the tedium. I can only wonder what the new tech thralls are going to be like when you really start building those. I hope they're only like 3 or 4 to maybe 6 parts at most, because that's going to be monotonous to make those guys. Again, it's just not very friendly to the building. Now, I'm going to add this to it. This is my first time using this camera, so please, any feedback would be great. Let me know if I'm doing something wrong or I'm just being an idiot. The filming rig is a bit of a ghetto rig, and it's a new experience. I hadn't planned on doing this, but I just decided that I was going to talk about this problem I had, even if it was a little rambly. Please forgive that. The other thing is I was setting up, because there's a box in the background, and I'm going to try very gingerly to tilt us up so people can see what that box is. I'm going to be showing off this old kit a friend of mine sent, and it's in an old box with the old sprue, which is not necessarily something you haven't seen, but the one of the older colors for the sprue. This was sent to me from all the way from Australia, from a a Phoenix Argus. So we'll be doing a video on that. So thanks for joining me and have a lovely day.